right, hello. It's Sundays with the Bushes.
Sundays with the Bushes.
We're back.
Back at it again.
Here
we go. We've been having some technical difficulties. If you are a fan of the show, then you know that we were working out some kinks since about 7 o'clock, and now it's like...
Yeah, it's all right.
7:20.
Won't he do it?
You know, the devil's a liar. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but, you know, the Lord will deliver you out of them all. That's all I got to say. Okay? So, while we wait for a couple of people to join, we don't want to wait too long because the good thing about Facebook Live... Where are you going?
Nowhere.
Good thing about Facebook Live is that you can always go back and watch it later. We'll make sure that the videos are public so that you can share them and that you can watch them later. Anything that we said that you might want to revisit, or something that you just I was going to say that you want your significant other to hear, you can play it back, but don't do it maliciously. Don't be like, spiteful. See, this is what they talking about. This is everything you do, and you need to be doing this because this is what they said. If you want to share any information with your significant other, the best way to do it is in love. You know, we want to make this a lighthearted experience. We want to be able to have fun with it. We want to be able to just have a conversation about love and relationships. So. Yes. On this Advent season, if you can see in the background, our lights in the background is just a portion.
Just a portion of the rest of my home, because my husband wanted everything to be Christmassy this season.
Everything.
So that's what I'm working out.
I want Christmas from the front door to the back door, trees in every room.
So, yeah.
I want little Santa Clauses and mangers all over the place.
So yeah, that's what's happening in the Bush household. Thanks to everyone who is joining us right now. Like we said before, we had a couple technical difficulties. We're back after months of being away not because we did not want to share with you guys, but we were in the process of moving into our new home, putting our boys into a new school, and just, kind of getting settled in. So now that we're settled, we're back and ready to share our experiences with our friends. Since the last time we were on, we celebrated 10 years of marriage.
You know what? I forgot that we didn't celebrate that on Sundays with the Bushes. We've been married for 10 years as of November 13th of this year. 10 years.
10 long. No, I'm supposed to say long.
Look,
it was long for me.
It's long for me too. You ain't gonna be the only one longing. We gonna be saying that in harmony.
Whatever he said. And on top of that, I got a new hairdo since then, so I look slightly different, as I will always look different, because I like to change up my style a little bit.
To change it up a little bit, but that's just a part of the ministry.
That's a part of dating. We're still dating.
You got to change it up. You know, when we were dating, as a matter of fact, before we get into what we were talking about, what we're going to talk about today, when we were dating, she changed up every week. Truly.
Every week, Tyrus?
Some 1 week she was blonde, and the other week it was like a honey glaze. And then when we first met, matter of fact, yesterday is the day that we met. So we met 11 years ago yesterday on December 3rd.
This is true.
Yeah, so when I first met her, her hair was jet black.
The color it is now.
It was short.
And it was short like it is now. It's just, I had the front flip, Tyrus, but it was the same hairstyle. But I changed up a lot. It's all right.
Yeah, so
you got to keep it.
You got to keep.
You got to keep them coming back. You feel me? You see right here, right? 10 years after that.
10 years. 10 years.
So I might switch it up to blonde next month. We'll see.
You never know. I'm glad. I like winter blonde. You know what? Let's get into what we're talking about today.
Winter blondes?
Yeah. The last time you went blonde, it was in the winter, and it was nice,
Okay. Whatever. So anyway, today our topic is Unrealistic expectations. Beat you to it.
All right. Unrealistic expectations. And, in this season of Sundays with the Bushes, we wanted to go a little deeper into relationships. We wanted to begin exploring marriage. We wanted to begin getting into where our destination truly is. We talked about in the last season about how you date with purpose. And the purpose of dating is to get married.
Right.
And if you date without purpose, then you will stay in a cycle of going from one person to the next person, endless relationships.
Being a serial dater.
A serial dater. Okay, so last season we talked about dating with purpose. Now we want to begin talking about what happens and what do you want to know and what do you want to be aware of when you get to where you desire to be. Some of us, waiting to get to the promised land, but when we get over there, we don't know what to expect. We don't know what's going to happen. So today we want to begin talking about marital relationships. And we kind of talked about what are some of the top issues in marriages after you get married, after the wedding. Everybody loves a wedding.
Everybody loves a wedding.
But not everybody is ready for a marriage. And they don't know what to expect. You know what to expect at the wedding because you spend, we have a couple of friends who are planning a wedding right now, and they're going to spend a year planning the wedding, so they know exactly what to expect. They're going to know how much to the dime they're going to spend on the wedding, but you don't know what's going to happen in your relationship. It's unpredictable. You have to make the best of it. So we want to talk about some of the top problems that people have in marital relationships, and we kind of agreed that the first and maybe one of the most contentious issues is unrealistic expectations.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, a lot of people go into marriages thinking that they know what to expect, thinking that things are going to be a certain way. People get into marriages thinking that, everything's going to be peachy keen. But when you have unrealistic expectations of the marriage, it is going to fail. Because if your expectations are unrealistic, then it is impossible for your relationship to meet those expectations, and ultimately you're going to be displeased, you're going to be dissatisfied, and you're going to move for the dissolution of your marriage. So we want to kind of talk about some of the unrealistic expectations that people have going into marriage. Do you have any that you want to start with, or what are you thinking?
No, we'll start with what you have.
With what I have?
Yeah.
Let's
see if you're prepared.
Well, I'm
let's see if you're prepared.
I'm meditating. I think one of the expectations that are unrealistic in marriage relationships is that everything is supposed to just work. People think that when you find your soulmate or when you find the person that's right for you, that it means that your connection is going to be easy and it's going to continually be easy, and you're never going to have an argument, you're never going to have a disagreement, you're never going to have a time where you guys don't see eye to eye. They think because you're the yin to my yang, because you're the black to my white, then it's always going to be all right. But that's an unrealistic expectation. What were you about to say?
Nothing.
Where are you?
I'm the black to your white. Go ahead.
Just saying, I'm trying to make the matches. You're my Simon. You're the Simon to my Garfunkel. You feel me? You're the Tina Turner.
As long as I'm not your Aaron to your Neville, because I can.
We ain't gonna get started with that. Listen.
Yeah.
So. Some people think that relationships should just be easy. They should be peachy keen all the time. We were watching this one show, the show that we like to watch, Married at First Sight.
Yes.
And there was a couple on there, and the male in the couple, he was kind of through with the relationship because he felt like, if she was his soulmate, he would be able to just open up to her,
Easily.
for some reason. Like, just the universe would change his past and change his psyche and his personality so that he can have a successful relationship with her. But that's not how it works. The way that it works is, no matter how compatible you are, you're always going to have to change things about yourself and number one, subdue pride and selfishness to be able to open up, to be able to communicate, to be able to connect on a deeper level consistently.
Yep.
So what are y'all thinking? Anybody have any comments regarding what I just said? I don't want to do too much talking because you told me I do too much talking.
I did say that.
Yeah, you did say that. But yeah,
but that was good.
No, I mean, and this is the problem with that. People look for their soulmate, and they look for themselves in other people. They look, people say, you're a reflection of me. When I look at you, I see me, and my heart stops beating. And it sounds beautiful. It sounds great, but the fact of the matter is, if they have all of your strengths, then they're probably going to have all of your weaknesses as well. So the very thing that drew you to them is also going to be the thing that is going to frustrate you about them. So if you guys are both, strong-willed and outspoken, I love it because, she tells it like it is. You're going to love it when she's telling other people how it is, but when she's telling you how it is, then you're going to have an issue with that. So you can't just expect things to be easy, because for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. For every height there is a depth. For all acceleration there is deceleration. What goes up must come down. So for every great thing about the person that you marry, for every thing that you think is perfect, there is something that is going to be imperfect about that person.
This is true.
Yeah.
Someone said, that's good, honest information. The churches need to give this reality to the folks.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that people don't think about before when in a relationship. The first couple of months and years, it's like a shock. It's like being thrown into ice cold water, because you know how to swim, but you didn't really know how cold the water was going to be until you jumped in.
Right.
Now you have to figure out how to navigate through this water and stay afloat and stay alive. So you got to understand that marriage is work. Marriage is hard work. And another expectation that people have is that, I guess this is the same thing. They think marriage is easy. They think it's easy. They think it's
they think it's easy because of what the guy in the show had the problem with. Because people think it's easy because it should be, if that's my perfect person, if that's my perfect match, if that's my best friend, how come, we move in together, get married, and we can't get along, or whatever the case may be. They think it's just supposed to be like, okay, everyday peaches and cream, and it's not going to be that way.
It's not. I mean, no relationship is like that. And that's what you got to understand. Marriage is not just hard. Marriage is only one facet and one expression of relationship. All relationships are hard. You think about the disagreements that you have with your mother, and that's your mama. You know what I mean? But sometimes she say stuff and you be like, oh, Jesus. You just drink some water, hold it in your mouth. Don't say nothing. You know what I mean? Or the relationships that you have with your siblings or with your friends or with your colleagues at work. For every relationship, there is a force trying to break the continuity of that relationship. There's just frustration. We don't always see eye to eye. We don't always agree with the decisions that people make. And we're not always at the same place at the same time. You know, sometimes, even if that is your soulmate, and even if she does understand you, and even if, like, on Bridesmaids, you can just communicate with a look.
Treese knows that. Don't you, Treese?
I can communicate. Even if you can do that, I'm not always there, or she's not always there, right, where we have the mental capacity to connect with you on that level. We go through individual experiences. You know, we even though we share our lives together, we are individual people. So when we wake up in the morning, the boys go to school, I go to work, Shaone goes to a completely different place of employment, and she experiences things apart from me. So if she had a bad day, she may not be able to read my mind when I come in the house and I'm looking for my eats, you know? And then when I say, where's my eats? And she says, you better use your feet. You know, I can't necessarily...
That's an example, people. That doesn't go on in my house. Dinner is cooked every night.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I don't want nobody to misconstrue things.
See, but the thing about it is, though, is I cook as well. I just made the bomb chicken thighs. I just gotta interject that. You know what I'm saying?
That was good.
They were banging, all right? And we're gonna make them for our Christmas party. And if the Lord delays us coming. But I'm just saying, you know, we're not always on that same plane of existence. So we have to understand that this is two people coming together as one.
So unrealistic expectations. What I will say from a woman's standpoint is that I know that women have their list. I know I grew up in that kind of culture, that kind of family where it was like, look, make your list, tell the Lord what kind of man you want, and he's going to give it to you, exactly that. And I talked about it over last summer about how I said, you know, my mom told me, you know, nothing was petty to put on your list, so I don't like snoring. And then I told y'all Tyrus snores from time to time.
On occasion.
But because I love him so, it doesn't bother me. So I'm basically saying that, you know, women, we have our standards. We know what we want in a man. We know what we can put up with. We know what we can't put up with. But what things on that list are unrealistic? You know, it is him. I expected him to put down the toilet seat because that's what men are supposed to do, right? They use the bathroom to put down the toilet seat. You expect them to put down the toilet seat, right? But then they don't put down the toilet seat. Is that something that you're going to go around the house ranting and raving all the time about? Well, my thing is I clean the toilets anyway. So why is it going to hurt me to put down the toilet seat? So I think that some things in relationships are just petty little things that get underneath people's skin, and therefore it creates big problems. So I think that when you say unrealistic expectations, I think you have to know what, first of all, I think you shouldn't put too many expectations on anyone. Because the reason why I say that is because I learned in another relationship, not my marital relationship, but I learned in another relationship that I had that's personal. And I learned that if I didn't put expectations on that person, I would never be disappointed. Because if I don't expect them to do this and I don't expect them to do that, if they do it, then it's like, oh wow. And if they don't do it, I'm like, oh okay, you know, it's cool because I didn't expect them to do it.
Yeah, I think I think that is an extension of what we're talking about here today. Unrealistic expectations, but sometimes expectations in general are, you know, could be a hindrance to what you're going through. Now, let me give it to you like this. Let me give it to you like this. There are some things that you should expect from your husband and from your wife. And these are not because you're entitled to these things. These are things that they vowed to you. Now, when you took vows, you said, I will love, honor, and obey. I'll forsake all others. You know, cleaving only to you, you know, in good times and bad times, through sickness and health, through richer for poor. Now, I expect you to love me. I expect you to honor me. Honor is not necessarily, you know, people take honor to a different level. They take honor as, you know, bowing down. No, it really means respect. So I vow to love, respect, and obey you. Not obey like you get to tell me what to do, but understand that we are compromising. There's always a compromise in the relationship. So, you know, I have to submit myself to you, and you have to submit yourself to me. So there are sacrifices that we have to make. There are compromises that we have to make. So I expect from my spouse those things. I expect that if I'm broke, she doesn't leave because you told me that you would. So I didn't put that expectation on her. Right. She told me what she wanted, what she was going to do, and now I can hold her to that expectation, you know?
Yeah, see, that's the balance to what I was saying. Because me putting an expectation on you is different from you giving me something to look forward to. If you say I'm going to be faithful, or you say I'm going to be supportive, then I should expect that of you because you said that you would do that. But I can't automatically go into a relationship like, oh, well, he ought to be giving me flowers on Valentine's Day because he didn't he didn't say that that's what he would do. So I think that's the balance of, you know, expecting something from someone and not, you know.
So what you just said is a great segue into another thing that I think is unrealistic. A lot of people think, and then I got to get to Treese because I'm interested in what Treese is saying, but I wanted to get this out real quick. Some people think and expect their relationship to be identical, their marriage relationship to be identical to their dating relationship, and that's unrealistic.
Right.
It just doesn't.
I mean, it's not the same from dating to being engaged to being married, and then the time and length that you're married.
Yeah, it's just not a realistic expectation for you to think that everything you did when you were dating, you're going to do when you're married. You know, so Shaone just said, you know, every Valentine's Day you're supposed to give me, you know, flowers or whatever. That's something that you do when you're dating. I'm not saying don't do it when you're married, but I'm saying displays of love like that are more frequent when you're dating because you're getting to know each other. You want to show the person that you have a loyalty and a commitment to them, and you kind of do those things. You continue to do those things, but you know you can't expect that.
Because that first year when you just find out that you're in love, those chocolates, you're excited about it. You're like, oh girl, he bought me a big old heart box of chocolate. First of all, I hate those boxes. But if I get it the first year I'm dating somebody, it's like, oh my God, he's so dope. He bought me flowers and this and this and that. But let me tell you something. You come home with that now, I'm be like, boy, if you don't take that heart box back to CVS.
What?
Because I just don't like those kind of chocolates. But I'm making a point that, you know, certain things that work or you know, kind of the things that you adore in the beginning of the relationship, they don't really mean as much throughout the relationship.
Yeah, you know, and that's funny you say that because it works on both sides. So you can't expect somebody to continue to do what they did when they were dating, and you also can't expect to do what you were doing when you were dating in a marriage relationship.
That's right, Beyonce. Bring back a Snickers or a Reese's, and we good.
But
I don't need the whole heart box of chocolate with no nuts in it.
But it's a real situation because when you're dating every day, you just want to spend time with that person. You know what I mean? Because you are infatuated with that person. You just want to be close to that person. And when you're dating, most of your life is not spent with that person. You know, you see them, if you go on a date every weekend, you know, you're only spending out of the countless hours in a week. Well, I mean, you can count them, but out of all of the hours in a week, you know, you'll spend Saturday and Friday night with the person that you're dating, you know, and maybe you'll link up a couple of times throughout the week. So, of course, when I'm with you and we haven't spent time most of the week, I'm going to be all into you. She's going to be all into me. We're going to be all in each other's eyes and just lost in the eyes. You know, but when you spend every day with the person, you got to understand that there are times where she just wants
my space,
her space. And then there's times where I not even just want my space, but I got to get stuff done. You know what I mean? We can't be in a constant state of infatuation all the time, because now we are living life now. Because
everyone's relationship is different. So therefore, like where I work outside of the home, he works inside of the home. So when I come home, he's not necessarily, he's home, but he's up in his office. He's working on his music. He's doing stuff. He's answering emails. He's, you know, the other day I came in all loud and he was on a conference call, you know, because I'm off of work. So everyone's relationship is different. So the time you spend at home is going to be different. Your schedules are going to be different. And once you're together in the home together, then you have to kind of be more mindful of the schedule. Because when we were dating, I was in college and I had like 7 a.m., you know, courses, and we stay on the phone all night, you know, but because we wanted that time and we didn't see each other.
And that time was a commodity, you know, and time always is a commodity. I'm not saying ever take anything for granted, but the key is when you get married is to set aside that time to date, you know, because we're living lives. When you were dating, when you weren't with that person, you were living your life. You were going to school. You were whatever you're doing separate from that person. But when you got together, it was all about them. You know, so you still got to set aside that time. Therese, I'm interested in what you were saying.
Gotta go back.
Disagreements are unrealistic because you both are different people. You may have grown up differently and have been raised differently, and you believe in different things. Okay. I just read it differently. You saying no disagreements are so not having disagreements is unrealistic.
Okay, is that what you're saying? Because I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I think I read it wrong.
The reason why I 100% agree with that, I mean, that was a great comment, Therese, because I believe that Tyrus and I are verily.
I say it to you. Tyrus and I.
We are very, like, our upbringing is very similar. You know, we're both Pentecostal, grew up in church. His uncle's a bishop. My grandfather's a bishop. So, we grew up in a family church. Our families went to church. We grew up. Me and Tyrus are literally the example of growing up in church.
I don't eat no chitlins, though.
We know. Whatever.
I don't eat no chitlins.
But, you know, that clearly we're both black. Okay, so a lot of our traditions and our families are similar. The only thing I think that we don't have in common as of holidays is Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we do Thanksgiving a little differently.
They do Thanksgiving a little bit differently than I grew up doing Thanksgiving, but the culture of Thanksgiving is not different. So we really just kind of like don't have too many differences as far as like growing up. So that was a good thing, and every relationship is not going to be like that. I get it. So, you know, we don't really have those talks where I'm like, well, you grow up like that? I grew up like, we're very, if I say verily one more time, the Lord is trying to give me a scripture.
He's trying to give you some truth. Because what you're saying is true. Because verily means truly. So when you speak in truth, it's going to come out
verily, I say unto you.
Barely. But listen, Therese, you just made a good point. A lot of people believe that their relationship is unhealthy if they have arguments and that is an unrealistic expectations. You're going to have disagreements. Have you ever met anybody in your life that you agree with everything that they did? No. But what you have to understand is that a healthy relationship can have disagreements, but it's about how you handle it. You know, so if you go into the relationship understanding that there are going to be times when we disagree, you won't be so violently disagreeable.
Right.
You know, that's one of the things. Like, if you think that you should always understand each other, then when you disagree, you're going to be mad. Not just because y'all disagreed, but you're going to feel like, I made the wrong choice.
Right.
I thought me and you was here. I don't know how we ain't here no more.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, the outrage of one of your expectations not being fulfilled, one of those unrealistic expectations not being fulfilled, is a lot of times what breaks up a relationship. You just so disillusioned, and you want to give up. You know, because this is not what I thought it was.
Yeah. And your comment, a lot of people believe their relationship is unhealthy if they have arguments and disagreements. I will say this, you know, I think once you get into a serious relationship with someone, I think your views start to change, because I used to think like, oh, well, you know, arguments are healthy, people argue. But what I realize is just because people do argue doesn't make it healthy. It's really about, you know, me and Tyrus, every time we talk to couples or we have couples over and we start talking about, you know, we have like little couples night or whatever, we always tend to laugh about our first year of marriage, because I was 20, he was 21, so we were extremely immature when it comes to marriage. Like, we were in love, we were head over heels for each other, but we really didn't know what to expect out of like the everyday marriage. Like, you know, I moved in with him and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, which closet's gonna be yours? Because I need space.
That's my stuff right there. That's my stuff right there.
How are we gonna do this? Because I prefer to have all the closets.
Put that stuff under the bed.
And then maybe you can have the drawers. Like, we gotta work this out. So, you know, we laugh about that, and we laugh about how, you know, every week he was packing his stuff because he was leaving, you know, because we argued all the time. But it was because we were trying to like coexist, and we really didn't know how to do that in the same house and all that kind of stuff. And instead of approaching each other, you know, in a loving way and saying, look, hey, can I talk to you? You know, we didn't really do that, and we had to learn that over time. The reason why not necessarily disagreements, because you can disagree without arguing.
Yeah, she says agree to disagree.
Yeah, so, but when you argue, you tend to say things that shouldn't be said. You know, your emotions are high, your adrenaline's up. So even if you don't mean something, you end up saying it the wrong way, or things you should have said before, you say in that moment. And so that's why I believe arguing isn't healthy, because it doesn't allow you to really feel what's going on in the situation, because you're just overly emotional and you're just yelling at each other. And to me, that's just not healthy.
Yeah, and I just want to piggyback off that. You know, arguments are not healthy because it's an emotional discussion, and you can't make a clear decision on any emotion. You really can't. I mean, you know, if you love somebody, or, you know, they try not to. I'll give you a picture. There's a concept called nepotism that happens, where if I am an employer and I have a child or I have a relative, I'll put them before somebody else who's more qualified because they're my child, you know. And I'm not saying nepotism is wrong. You know, if you have a business, you know, do what you want to do, set your children up. But, you know, sometimes because you love this person, you'll miss out on somebody who can really take your company to the next level because you just want your child to work. It's the same thing with arguments. If you're emotional and you're angry and you're mad, even if you are saying something that needs to be said, you're going to say it the wrong way, because what's really talking is not your intellect, it's your emotions. Mm-hmm. You know, so you really don't want to get to that place. If you're mad, you need to separate until you can come back and have an intellectual conversation.
You tend to get off topics. So you'll be talking about how they didn't spend no time with you, and then you'd be like, that's why I don't even like your chicken. Your chicken's not even that good.
Because you just trying to bust them. It's like, because you can't communicate that way, you know, because while they're talking, you're not even listening. You're thinking about your next. You're like, okay.
When she done.
They said when she done. All right. What about your coffee? Huh? What about that coffee stain right there? You're not even talking about stains. Mm-hmm. So we want to just curb that. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I think expectation that I think people have that is unrealistic is basing your relationship off somebody else's relationship. I think that's a biggie. That's a
huge one.
Well,
because you can't really honestly do that because you have no idea the ins and out of anybody's relationship.
No, you don't. A lot of people put on the front. About, they can hate each other when they come home, but out in front they look like, I mean, and let me.
Because some people literally, we laugh about this when we talk, but the truth is, for some people it's a business deal.
Oh yeah.
Like she's trying to do her thing, he's trying to do his thing, and they both got a little bit of money, so they put it together. And at home they hate each other. When they go out, they make themselves look good.
They don't even talk to each other.
And
you see it in a lot of stories that come out later. You look at the. I'm not saying that they hated each other, but it was a volatile relationship that nobody could see. Was Ike and Tina. Now, when they got on stage, it's just like,
killing
my God, like
they was killing it.
You like they the perfect couple. They up there. He write the songs, she sing the songs, and it.
The one time she went out there and killed. Right before she went out there and killed, he was like, "Yeah, you the sorriest so and so I ever seen."
We don't know if that's real. That's the movie.
That's what the movie said. And then she went out and killed.
And they went out and they tore the house down. He came up there and kissed her on the cheek for the effect. Because they wanted to put the Ike and Tina image out there.
They look perfect and they sleep in separate rooms at home.
And that's what it is.
I ain't going for that.
But what you can't base your relationship on somebody else's relationship. Number one, like Shay said, because you don't know the ins and out of their relationship. But for the second reason is every relationship is unique. You can't make somebody else's relationship the foundation of your. Now, I'm not saying you can't have relationship heroes. I look at Barack and Michelle, and even
love them.
Whoever your relationship heroes are. We have counselors and a pastor, a bishop, and his wife that we look up to, and we love how they interact with each other. We love all of that, but we can't make their relationship the foundation of our relationship. Right. We can take tips, we can take tidbits, we can look at them, and we can analyze what we see of them, but we have to know what our relationship is, because every relationship is unique. Every relationship there is no duplication of relationships. Every relationship is as unique as the person in the relationship. And this is what's crazy. The relationships are so unique that two people can view the same relationship differently. Mm-hmm. A relationship can have two identities. I'm her best friend, but she ain't my best friend. You know what I mean? Or yeah, that's my girlfriend, and she looking at him like, son, no, not now, not ever. You in the friend zone forever. So relationships are so unique that you have to know the relationship that you're in. That's why I always say identify your relationship. Know what type of person you are. Know what type of person your spouse is.
Love you too, Hector.
And then, Hector, isn't it your birthday today? Lord Jesus. You have to know the foundation, know who you are and who your spouse is, and then build your own foundation. Know what is necessary for your relationship. You can't be like, oh, my grandmother and my grandfather had the best relationship. That's what everything he did, I'm gonna do. And you didn't know that your grandmother was only putting up with him.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Or the same thing that your grandfather used to do to your grandmother. Your wife ain't gonna take that.
That's right.
She gonna knock you out.
And matter of fact, what we were just talking about recently, when my sister was here, we were talking about how when you grow up, you see things differently and you see people differently. So right now, I'm going on 31, and there's some things that I'm just finding out about certain things and certain people that I'm related to or whatever, and I'm like, oh shoot, that happened, and that now I understand why so and so and so. You know, so it's like you can't even base, you know.
Yeah, you can't base your relationship on anybody else, because the success or failure of your relationship is completely based on you. It's complete, and your significant other. You know, you can't, as you know, we get relationship advice, but that's it. Everything that we say here is only advice. You can't base your relationship on our relationship or another relationship, because you're you. You know, she accepts the fact that I snore. You know, and this is just on the very, 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 very superficial. But she accepts the fact that I snore. You know, and it's good. And I'm not going to try to change my snoring. You know, but in your relationship, you may need to get a breathe right strip or something. You know what I mean? You need to. They got this new invention that you stick it in your nose and you stop snoring. But you know, you need to find out what works in your relationship, because you know, every relationship is unique. And if you expect your relationship to be like somebody else's relationship, you're going to be disappointed every time. You know, I can't expect me and Shaone to have Barack and Michelle's relationship, because I'm not Barack and she's not Michelle.
That's right.
I wish I was Barack.
But when he goes low, I do go high.
Look, well, let me tell you something. Well, that's just Jesus. But I tell you this one thing. I wish I was Barack, because I would have ran and won. You feel me? Because they was ready to have him back.
Yes, sir.
We're not going to go into that.
Yeah, no,
that's another relationship. You see what I'm saying? Just relationships, just volatile relationships. Yeah. So, yeah, pick and choose your battles. Know your spouse. Know your significant other.
You have to, you know, I like that phrase, choose your battles wisely, because you really got to think. And it's so funny, because on a funny tip, I'll be like, look, Shaone, when you go in the house today, don't say nothing about that. Just go in there, be sweet. Hi, honey, how are you? How was your day? Just play it off. Don't say nothing. Be smooth. You got this. Then I get in the house like, you know what? I have a bone. I got something I need to say. You know, and you just forget all about.
She cleaning up, just like, I got to get this off my chest. He's like, what? Are you coming at me? Like, I'm trying to watch, you know. I'm trying to watch the Word Network. You know what I mean? Coming in here.
Oh, God.
The bishop is on.
Oh, God. So, yeah, you do have to pick your battles. And you have to know, okay, is this worth me bringing up? Is this something that I need to work out on my own? And then maybe once I calm down, you know, I can say something to him or whatever.
Absolutely.
Because even if it's petty, if you bring it the right way, you know, the other person, even if they feel like it's petty, they might just be like, you know what, you know, like he'll say to me, like, you know, B, it's really not that serious, you know, whatever. And then you just move on.
Yeah.
It's not always that easy, but.
It's not. And this is the thing, you know, Shay and I were talking about the book that we're writing, and we're really writing relationship theory, because there's no precise, accurate, if I was DJ Khaled, there's no precise, accurate way to have a successful relationship. You know, I got an itch I need to scratch. There's no
exactly.
There's no precise way to have a relationship. Every relationship is unique, and we're just giving you relationship theory. You know, how things work out in theory, because when you're in the situation, you ready to snap on people.
Right.
You know, it's hard for you to say, you know what? When we have a disagreement, I'm going to say, I agree to disagree, and we're going to shake hands and kiss, and I'm going to go out the door, and she go, no, because when you right and you think, or when you think you're right, and when you think they're wrong, or when you think that, you know, what they did was that devastating, you're going to be emotional about it. You know, so we have to figure out ways that we could create we can create fail safes in the infrastructure of our relationship.
Right.
And we have to, I kind of used the analogy before about building a house. I said you can't make it the foundation of your relationships. Well, your relationship can't be founded upon relationships that are unrealistic. You know what I mean? You can't, building a house or building a marriage on unrealistic expectations is like building a house on sand. Mm-hmm. They're going to constantly keep shifting, and it's going to constantly keep moving, and you can't build a solid, stable house in those conditions. So, are there any other unrealistic expectations that people have as it pertains to relationship? Anything that you all have experienced? We were going to end at 8 o'clock.
But we came on late today.
Yeah, we're going to extend it just a little bit. But anybody out there have any comments or questions or anything like that? Because I'm interested in hearing some of the other...
Because we're trying to define what unrealistic is. Because some people think that some of the expectations that they have are not
that unrealistic.
That they're not unrealistic, but they are.
Wow. That's a good insight. There are some people who don't think that the expectations they have for marriage are unrealistic. Mm-hmm. Wow. But that's the very reason that we're having this conversation, is to let you know that some of those things are unrealistic. Like we said, this is relationship theory. This is marriage theory. But there are some constants in this whole thing. You can't expect your marriage to be like it was when you were dating, because the circumstances are different. If if based on nothing else, just the circumstances.
When we were dating, he would sing to me all the time. Now I gotta beg and plead and beg.
See, because I got to sing to put food on the table. You know what I'm saying? I was singing for fun back then.
In other words, he was trying to reel me in.
No, I wasn't trying to reel you in.
So he was trying to sing to me because he knew I like that.
I wasn't singing as hard as I'm singing now, because I got to sing to pay these bills. You feel me? I got to, when I get home, like right now, my voice is tired, man. I sang at 7, 9, and 11, all the whole service. So,
But yeah.
But I every once in a while, I give it a little April shower. When the Soul Train Awards came on, Drew Hill came on, I lost it. You know what I'm saying? I was in there jamming. I was like Teddy Riley. I was like, do you remember? I lost it.
This is true. He did do that.
Oh no, because what's funny is that's the type of stuff you used to sing back in the day. When Carl Thomas came on, it was a wrap.
Then he started whispering sweet nothings in my ear.
Oh yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
I was singing, but I also, I did have to sing. No, we didn't watch it on Sunday. We watched it later, and I had been resting. My voice was resting. That's what happened.
He was up dancing and everything.
Oh yeah, it was killing him. I didn't know I still had it though. I definitely was killing that dance.
Depends on whose perspective.
No, I definitely was killing them joints. Jam.
Cisco, let me tell you something. Patrice, you didn't know where Cisco was until that moment.
Exactly. But what's funny
you didn't know where Cisco was. You didn't even know if his hair was still platinum. Okay?
Wait, what's funny is on Thanksgiving, we had the conversation like, where is Drew Hill, X, Y, and Z? I'm like, yo, they were dope back in the day. Lo and behold, Cisco came out.
Yeah. Listen, but I will say this. Cisco looked like he didn't age or nothing.
Oh, yeah. He didn't age or nothing, Jesus.
Let me get back. Let's get back on topic, because Tyrus goes too far when it comes to Drew Hill and stuff. He's we
were talking about how when we were dating, I used to sing to her and all of those things, but now it's not that I don't sing. It's just that now we're under
I
different
told him that I wanted we weren't technically, I guess we were dating, but we weren't like official. weren't official. And I told him that I wanted lessons, to play. I was never interested in playing. To this day, I've been with this man for 11 years and I still don't know how to.
She don't know where C is, do you? But she she's like, will you give me the lessons? You understand? You know what I mean? She was like, what's that right there? That's a C.
Now he should have known that was a lie. He should have known that was a lie because I had musicians in my family. Why would I need him to teach me
exactly.
how to play?
I'm just as dumb. Because that's how you get the guy. You give him a little ego boost. You know what I mean? So you dope. You dope. Let me hear how you play that. Go back to the isn't Rodney Jerkins? Didn't he do You Rock My World? Ain't her dad? Almost doesn't count. But
so stupid.
But it's just the circumstances are different. He
fell for it though. That's the thing.
It's
he agreed to it to reel me in.
But listen, listen. When there was never no lessons. It ain't never been no lesson. Every time we got together for a lesson, we go out there. We end up eating. We had TGI Fridays. You know what I mean? Wining and dining her. She's trying to get me to take her out.
Well, it wasn't no wine going on. And number two, we went out on group dates.
We went out on group dates, exactly. So that's the thing. If I wanted to give her some piano lessons, it'll be a class piano session. Everybody in there is 8 people with a keyboard because that's how we rolled back in the day. Anyway, so
guys.
So are there any other unrealistic expectations that you want to have? I think, and this is the last one that I have, and if you don't have any more, we can kind of conclude this episode and kind of put out what we're going to be doing the end of this year, next year. But I think one of the biggest unrealistic expectations is expecting the person that you marry to read your mind. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest unrealistic expectation.
Can you read my mind right now?
And no.
Okay.
No. I thought I heard something. I guess that's one of the boys.
Oh gosh.
A lot of times it may not. I do this a lot here, and what I'm saying is our conscious mind doesn't expect them to read our mind, but subconsciously we want them to know what we're thinking and not have to say it and not have to express it, and then we want to hold them accountable to the feelings that we haven't expressed. So we want, if I'm mad, and I never tell her why I'm upset, I just want her to know. She ought to know. She did it. She should know what she did, and da-da-da-da-da. You can't expect that from your spouse. If you want to solve a problem or if you want to find a solution to the problems, you have to express what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Whatever's on your mind, you have to find a way to communicate that to the person that you're married to, so that you can come to a common ground. So whatever it is, whatever you're struggling with, whatever you're dealing with, you can't expect them to just know. We are all prophets, but we don't all, see like that. You know what I mean? So I think, of the unrealistic expectations that many of us have, the biggest unrealistic expectation is really you getting something for nothing, or you having the perfect relationship without having to put anything into it. Mm-hmm. So whatever you want in your relationship, you have to communicate, you have to express what you want, you have to express what you need, and then if you have a conversation about it, then you can have an expectation about what they're going to do. Because if you have a conversation and the solution is, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, then you can hold each other accountable for, holding up their end of the bargain. Mm-hmm. So, that was one that I wanted to touch on, because a lot of times guys do that. Guys want her to just know, guys don't want to have to really open up. They want her to know by our mannerisms and our, half answers and our looks. Women do that too, though. Cause she be like, I ain't gonna say nothing to him. Women do that when they
I never do that.
Women do that. I saw a meme, and it was saying, what did that meme say? I can't. I'm so mad that I can't.
Not the one about going out to eat or what they want to eat.
No. That ain't it. I just lost it. Whatever. I'll remember it later. Maybe if I remember it, I'll put it up. I'll put it on the Sundays with the Bushes page. Oh, that bothers me.
Now he's trying to figure it out.
Anyway. So if you guys don't have any more comments or questions or concerns, we're gonna wrap this session up. And anything you want to say?
No, I just wanted to thank everyone who joined us today. Like we said, we got on a couple minutes late because we had a few technical difficulties, but what can we say? But we're excited to be back. Like I said in the beginning, we took some time off because we had a lot of other things going on and we wanted to get settled first before we could continue with Sundays with the Bushes. But we do have some things that's going to happen within 2017 that we're very, very excited about and that we've been planning for. And we hope that we can get the support of people so that you guys can join us. And make sure if you are joining us live that you share the video after we go live, just for the people who haven't seen it, or maybe one of your friends on your friends list would like to hear something like what we talked about today. Our email is sundayswiththebushes@gmail.com. I told everyone before that you can email us topics, questions. We won't say your name, but if you want us to talk about something or just raise a topic, we'll do that. But other than that, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for joining us.
As I get back to my Christmas decor, I said at the beginning of the video, my husband wants everything Christmassy. So it's Christmas everywhere.
Christmas everywhere. You know what? So just speaking of next year, real quick, we are working on the website right now, where we will be able to have a hub, a central hub for Sundays with the Bushes.
Yep.
But all things as it pertains to the Bushes, all right?
Yes.
Because we're going to be doing some things for couples, for married couples, and for families as well. Everybody's have been asking about, the kids. Dun dun dun. They've been asking about, why haven't the boys been on Sundays with the Bushes as of yet? And we are trying to figure out how exactly we're going to bring them on, but they're going to be on soon. And because we do want to make this about family. We want to make it about the tag is dating, love, and relationships in general. So we want to make sure that we're not only empowering couples who are dating, couples who are married, but people who are in any type of relationships. The tips that we learn and that we share here, you share with us and we share with you, can help in any relationship. And at the foundation and at the center of every relationship should be your love for Christ and your love for His people. So at the end of it all, we should know that it's the love of Christ that binds us together. It's the love of Christ that brings us together. And without the love of Christ, we can't do this effectively. We can't do it properly. And, that's just really what we kind of want to put out there. Absolutely. All right? So, with that being said,
our time is up.
I'm still trying to think of that thing. It was hilarious.
We're gonna get off the air.
I was gonna kill y'all.
This is what I'm gonna have to hear when y'all leave me.
I was gonna kill y'all with that thing. I was really gonna kill y'all with that. But anyway, that is what it is. Peace out. For everybody who's trying to call me while I was on, you can call me now, and then we'll talk. All right? Peace.
Bye.